RMC has been one of the most innovative roller coaster manufacturers in the last 10 years. They have literally brought us some of the best roller coasters in America, and today I'm going to name my top 10 favorite RMC coasters in America and must-do bucket list coasters for most enthusiasts. So in making my list, what I did was I took one coaster and put it beside the other and asked myself, which one am I willing to wait in line for 2 to 3 hours just to ride? And then I came up with my answer, and so on and so forth. This is so hard to come up with a list because I really don't think there is any bad RMC coaster out there. I love this manufacturer. It's absolutely my favorite. But before I do that, I just want to give an honorable mention to Silver Dollar City's Outlaw Run, because if I don't, I feel like I'll get ridiculed. Either way, I think this is definitely a top 10 coaster, although I have not been on it. I just feel like it's definitely a better coaster than my number 10, which is Lightning Rod. Now, when you talk about a great roller coaster, it's all about the experience, because it's not just a ride. And by experience, I mean the entire package. I'm talking how long you wait in the queue line, how long dispatches take, if this ride's prone to breaking down, all of that, plus the on-ride experience. What kind of unique elements does this coaster offer? And I gotta say, I'm blown away when I hear people say that Lightning Rod's the best RMC out there. And to each their own. No doubt, everybody's entitled to an opinion, but to me the only great element on this coaster is the quad down, and other than that, I mean, yeah, it has that big bank turn there, but really that's it. I mean, this coaster doesn't offer much when you compare it to some of the newer RMCs. Yes, it has that launch, but it's so unreliable that it's almost unenjoyable when you go there and you can never get on the thing. Lightning Rod just lacks in a lot of areas, always breaking down. I'm finally glad that Dollywood is addressing this in the off season here. I would really love to see RMC keep innovating, so I would really love to see them do another launch coaster, just not up a lift hill. So moving on to my number 9. Twisted Colossus. Now, speaking of experiences, this is probably the most unique RMC coaster out there. Of course, they're all very unique, but this one, in fact, featuring a Mobius style track, which means you start on one side and end up finishing on the other side. This also offers the high five effect, which is when you actually get a true duel. It is so cool to look down below you or look up above and see that other train. I'm telling you, there's nothing else like it. It's one of the best coasters I've ever been on, for sure. It's definitely a top 25 for me, only because of how unique it actually is. There's only so many Mobius style coasters out there. For RMC to take on something of this magnitude when they were such a young company at the time was really something phenomenal. I was very fortunate when I was out in California to experience a true duel, but from my understanding it doesn't happen very often, and that's why I had to put it at number 9. Otherwise, I'd probably say it'd be a 5 or 6. So, moving on to number 8, Goliath at Six Flags Great America. And this one is the only RMC that is actually a wooden coaster, believe it or not. Yes, this uses the topper track, so underneath the metal is wood. This gives this a little bit of a rougher feel, but still offers all the same awesome RMC greatness. And I just love the 0G stalls on this thing. I would say if there's any downside to this coaster, it would be its length. It's just very short. The ride is over so quick. I mean, it literally feels like a 45-second ride maybe. So moving on to number 7, and this is probably going to surprise some people, but Wicked Cyclone. I just think this ride is phenomenal. It's not very tall at only 109 feet, but man, this thing packs a punch. Tiny layout, but still has 3,300 feet of track, and it's just amazing to me that the amount of space this thing takes up. It's the only RMC out there to have a 200-degree 0G stall and 2 0G rolls. This thing just had so much ejector airtime. I loved all the little bank turns as well, making this one of my favorite RMCs, no doubt. Really, you could put this one at number 6, number 7, doesn't matter. Twisted Timbers, Wicked Cyclone, to me, both of them are just about equal. I really love that barrel roll down the first drop of Twisted Timbers. That is such an awesome feature to have. Again, RMC is so innovative. Every single coaster is so different in so many ways, and Twisted Timbers, oh man, this thing offers so much airtime. I absolutely love the train design as well. It goes really well with their Candy Apple Grove section of the park. That rustic truck look with the rustic track. I love this style. I mean, it just fits really well at King's Dominion, no doubt. One of my favorite coasters there. So number 5, Iron Rattler. This thing with the quarry wall, going in and out of the quarry wall, was awesome. This thing's a whole nother beast at night. So if like you're gonna ride this thing, go at nighttime for sure, because it is a totally different monster at night. I absolutely love this coaster, and I don't think too many people would argue with me on this, but this is one of the most thrilling coasters at Six Flags Fiesta Texas. I think it's pretty much the best coaster there. From this point on in the lineup, there's obviously going to be controversy here, and that's okay. You can definitely leave your opinion below in the comments section. But Air Force One, awesome coaster. Absolutely love this coaster. I think that Raven Trust Dive is probably my second favorite element on this coaster. I think that stall right underneath the lift hill, oh man, what an incredible feeling. A lot of people love what they're calling the arcade roll. I don't mean to sound like a spoiled brat, but I just like when RMC does these really unique things. And so when they offer something unique on a coaster that I haven't seen before on one of their other coasters, I tend to enjoy that element more than others. One element I did not enjoy about this coaster was that terrible brake run. It has to be one of the worst brake runs. I gotta say, I think it's the fact that they are only using a 5-car train. If there was a 6-car train and it went to brake real hard like that, it probably wouldn't be as sudden where you feel like you literally just got punched in the gut. That I did not like at all. It was just terrible. That was the only thing about this coaster I did not care for, but it was enough for me to make it number 4, because as far as I'm concerned, that just, it really ruined the experience. Again, I wouldn't have this coaster at number 4 if it wasn't absolutely a tremendous coaster. Every element from top to bottom was phenomenal. This coaster was just definitely, I rode this thing like 25 times. I was only there for one day and I got on this thing 25 times in a row, and I enjoyed every minute of it other than that brake run. So if you disagree with what I have to say about Air Force One, because I know a lot of you will, make sure to comment below, because I'm really curious what other people think of this coaster. It is a phenomenal ride, like I said. However, I just feel that Wildcat's Revenge is well deserving of a number 3 spot on this list. I think the pacing, the airtime, the awesome ejector airtime that you get, it's everything an RMC should be and more. The dispatches on this, if you get the right crew, they can move. And I'll tell you what, you can actually get the high five effect right here, where one train can actually go over top of you doing the 0G roll, and you're going up the lift hill at a slower pace, obviously, until that train passes a certain point. But what an incredible feeling. The stall on this coaster, phenomenal. This one moment right here, oh, it literally feels like you're gonna go flying out of the train. I absolutely love this thing. I think this was a wonderful coaster for Hershey Park, and definitely one of the best RMCs out there. There's no doubt about it. A lot of people will argue with me on this, and you know, Air Force One is phenomenal as well. Really, it's tough to put a number on either of these coasters, but for me, I think Wildcat's Revenge just offers that pow. I mean, that high five effect, if you're fortunate enough to get that, is phenomenal. My top 4 coasters are my absolute favorite RMCs, and they are not without controversy. So here's my number 2, Iron Gwazi. I know a lot of you hate me now, but that's okay. You know, I think it's a phenomenal coaster. Really, you could put it at number 1. You could put it number 2. Doesn't really matter. I have my reasons for it being number 2, and I'm going to go over that. This thing has awesome pacing, absolutely incredible elements. It is a true RMC through and through. I love everything about this coaster. However, there's just a few things that irritate me, and that would be slow operations. And when you're talking 5-minute dispatches sometimes, that's pretty pathetic. And now you could say the same thing about my number 1, Steel Vengeance. I've been there, and the dispatches have been absolutely horrific, but when they are on it, they are on it. And a lot of times it's not anything to do with the ride operators. It's mostly because of only running 1 or 2 trains, and you know, 3 trains really makes a difference as far as operations goes. But Steel Vengeance just offers one of the best layouts of any coaster. I love the head choppers on this thing. I am a sucker for head choppers, and this thing, that whole back half of this ride after the brake run that everybody hates, I think those head choppers are absolutely phenomenal. You have no idea where you're going. It's just like in and out, and I just think it's the best roller coaster on the face of the earth. I bet you all thought I was going to say because of the airtime, and that's awesome too. Definitely packs a punch. If you don't feel the same, I understand, but feel free to comment your opinion below. Make sure to give this video a like. I really appreciate it. Thank you everyone for watching.